Hey everyone, happy Monday and happy Valentine's Day. Do something special for yourself on Valentine's Day. You know, the love yourself thing. Super important. So, what did I do this week? I did edit chapters 9, 10, and 11. I didn't get to chapter 12. I didn't dig out any photos. I do have 7 beta readers, so, some success. And I didn't quite get as far as I wanted to this week, but, that's life. And actually, this week, the editing was quite emotionally challenging, I must say. I'm at this point in the story where the me in the book is not doing well at all. And just reading about that and trying to revise those sections, kind of looking at it from a reader's perspective, rather, being pulled in as a reader rather than being pulled in as, oh, this is my story, has really evoked an emotional response in me that I've needed to deal with as I'm revising the manuscript. Sometimes I just need to stop and take a breath. Sometimes I have to read and then reread a section. I'll read it and then I'll realize that I'm not really revising it. I'm just reading the section. And, you might think that's good, except I'm not necessarily reading it from a reader's perspective, which is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And so I have to reread it again, kind of sit back and remember what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and kind of settle myself, get grounded, and then read it again so I can revise it. I'm trying to be a reader, not me looking at my life. And this can be very challenging when writing a memoir. And that made me think about the idea that, a memoir writer does not want to re-traumatize themselves by reliving certain experiences. And so, like, what do I do, right? So I honor the person I was at the time when things were happening that maybe I wasn't doing well or responding well to or making good choices. I kind of honor that person and where they were at that time. I accept that that's where they were. I realized that the responses, although not helpful, were probably, seemingly appropriate in some ways. And I allow the emotions to come up. And I take breaks when necessary. I reread things. I breathe. I walk away. I come back when I'm ready. And so if this is where you're at with your memoir and you're writing and it gets emotional, whether on the first draft or the second draft, when it gets emotional, what do, right? It's okay to get up and walk away. It's okay to just breathe. It's okay to take a break, go for a walk, do some self-care, do some healing. And that reminds me that, like, I as I said, I have 7 beta readers. And so I've been feeling vulnerable in my own revising. So I've been thinking, what is this that I'm giving to my beta readers and how do I feel about that? And, sharing my work this week, like the thought of sharing my work has been, there have been some ups and downs around that. There's some emotions around sharing my work. And it reminds me that I've had editing clients come to me and tell me that, I've tried an editor before, it was too hard, or the editor was not sensitive, or I got feedback that was harmful or hurtful, or I felt overwhelmed. And honestly, that's okay. If you're in the process and you need to walk away and say, right now is not a good time for feedback, that's perfectly good. That's okay. And accept that that's where you are, and that's fine. I am at the place when I am ready for feedback. I'm not in that first writing and I'm healing, and keeping it so close to me to protect myself. So I am ready. So when you're in a place where I am and you're ready for feedback on a memoir that is highly emotional, you want to find the right people, including finding the right beta readers. An editor, finding the right editor who is sensitive to how you're feeling about the highly emotional work that you're doing, right? Someone who's sensitive, someone who's gentle. A friend can also be empathetic and can really help you, but they can't necessarily take you to that next level. A beta reader, someone you don't know, or an editor can often because they're not so emotionally involved, they can help you, but then sometimes that feels even more risky, right? And so there's, finding that balance within all of this is really, really important. And so what's my advice? My advice is to really understand first how you're feeling about the work, how you are being affected by the words on the page, by your revisions, and think about how you're going to be affected by feedback and what kind of feedback would be helpful right now and what kind of feedback would be harmful right now. It is okay to be really clear with people about what type of feedback you're looking for and what kind of feedback you don't want to hear right now. Perfectly okay. Be honest with them where you are in the journey. Be clear with them on what you're looking for and what you're not looking for so they can support you, or they can say, that's not kind of the feedback I want to give. Nobody wants to inadvertently hurt you or harm you. I believe most people, despite the fact that my book is about childhood trauma, I happen to believe that most people in the world are good people with good hearts who really just want to help. And this is true for beta readers as well. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be coming up with the questions I want to ask, the instructions I want. If you just randomly give your manuscript to beta readers, some people will be looking at commas. Some people will be looking at plot holes. Some people will be looking at character development. Others will be looking at word choice. And you'll get so much different feedback and it may all be helpful, and maybe that's what you want. I'm just going to throw it out there and see what I get back. Or it might be that I'm not really at the place where I'm doing proofreading, so the proofreading isn't helpful to what I'm looking for right now. And so you can say that, if you want to proofread or edit, that's fine, but that's really not what I'm looking for. This is what would be helpful now. On the flip side, if you never ask for feedback, if you don't get feedback, you miss the opportunity to be surprised about what others see in your writing. You miss the opportunity to figure out what you could, explore further. The feedback might see things or notice things that you would never see on your own or notice on your own. It's amazing what other people can catch. So feedback makes you a better writer, and it helps you produce a better book. So when you are ready for feedback, think about the feedback you want. Think about who's going to be the right person to give you that feedback, and then give that person the guidance that you need them to have so that you get the feedback you need at that moment. All right, that's my rant for the day. So what am I doing next week? I have to edit 12, 13, and 14. When I'm done that, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, it means 5 more chapters. I'm halfway through the month. If I can get 4 chapters done this week, that would be better. I really want to get this done by the end of the month, which means I have 2 weeks to do 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 8 chapters. So if I can do 4 chapters a week, that's best. So I'm going to really try to do 12, 13, 14, and 15 this week. And finding pictures to share is on my list. I do have a set of questions for beta readers, but I could review them. So I'm going to add that to my list, and I'm going to do that too. And that's where I'm at today. If you're writing your memoir, think about how you feel. Think about what's important to you so that when you're asking for feedback, you get your needs fulfilled as well as the reader's needs fulfilled. All right. I will see you next week, Monday at